Good evening. Tonight, Ondo State People's Democratic Party governorship candidate flags off campaign in Akwa, the state capital, ahead of October 10 election, even as violence mars party's congress in Niger State. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo spits fire again, describes Nigeria as a gradually failing state and a basket case that urgently needs pulling from the brink of collapse. Police in Rivers State arrests wanted robbery and kidnap kingpin Boboski. Suspect dies shortly after arrest. And trials of a COVID-19 vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University to resume after being paused on Tuesday due to reported side effect in a patient. Plus, we have business and sports.
On business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria issues guidelines for registration of electronic Form M for importers seeking foreign exchange.
And on sports news tonight, Victoria Azarenka, Naomi Osaka square off in women's singles final of the US Open, with both players seeking to win a third Grand Slam.
Now, with the Ondo State governorship election of October 10 less than a month away, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) today flagged off its campaign in Akure, the state capital. Addressing supporters at the event, the party's governorship candidate, Mr. Itayo Jegede, as well as other PDP leaders, appealed to residents of the state to vote en masse for the People's Democratic Party so that rapid development will come to the state.
Massive cheers erupt at the MKO Abiola Democracy Park in Akure, the Ondo State capital, as party faithful and supporters of the People's Democratic Party gather to witness the flag-off of the Ondo PDP governorship campaign. Party leaders, including the governor of Oyo State, who is also the chairman of the National Campaign Committee for the election, described the forthcoming poll as a fight for freedom.
It's about you choosing continued servitude against freedom. We want freedom for the entire Southwest. It has started from Oyo State. It will continue in Ondo State.
I assure you, this election in Ondo State is the commencement and beginning of the work in progress by PDP for the restructuring of Nigeria.
The man who is bringing the change, who is the person?
For the PDP national chairman, a free and fair election in the country has become paramount.
Let us warn the federal government of Nigeria, of APC, that the only thing left today in Nigeria is for Buhari to conduct free and fair election, because the economy has collapsed, security has collapsed, corruption, they are swimming in corruption. The only way out for Buhari is to conduct free and fair election in Edo and Ondo State, so that Nigeria can remember him. We present the flag of victory to Jegede.
And then comes the highlight of the event, which is the presentation of the party's flag to the governorship candidate, Mr. Itayo Jegede.
I speak on behalf of the entire PD family in Nigeria. By the grace of God, come 10th of October 2020, we shall vote and we will win by the grace of God. Come 23rd of February 2021, there will be a new face in the government house. The PDP flag will fly. Economy will grow. There will be jobs for the youth. There will be industries. There will be infrastructure development. School fees will come down.
The PDP believes it has presented a good candidate and that victory in the October the 10th election in Ondo State is certain.
In the meantime, it's a different story in Niger State, where the People's Democratic Party's Congress in the state was disrupted by violence following agitations by allegedly supporters of the incumbent chairman of the party. Despite the heavy presence of security personnel, the Congress could not hold as members of the Electoral Committee had to be whisked away after the agitators became unruly amidst gunshots.
Supporters of the People's Democratic Party from across the 25 local government areas of Niger State waiting under scorching sun for the commencement of the party's Congress. 5 hours after the scheduled time, 10 a.m., there's still no sign that the Congress would hold, as members of the Electoral Committee are yet to arrive. Soon, agitation takes over, particularly among supporters of the incumbent chairman of the party, Tanko Beji, whom they once returned for a second term unopposed. The atmosphere is tense, and the former deputy majority leader and former member representing Agaye Lapai constituency, Baba Agaye, is unlucky as the agitators attack him for allegedly withholding tags meant for delegates from his area. We tried to speak to him, but he would not grant any interview. In the midst of the crisis, members of the Electoral Committee, led by the PDP governorship candidate in Borno State in 2019 general elections, Mohammed Imam, arrived, and they tried to set the Congress venue in order. But the tension outside still continues, even hours after the arrival, prompting the decision to reschedule the Congress for an unannounced time. The Electoral Committee members are whisked away as security men shoot in the air to disperse the protesters. Officials of the People's Democratic Party could not be reached for comment, but some members of the party expressed disappointment over what has happened.
My people can't come here. No, you can't come here. I can't risk it.
As at the time of filing this report, a handful of PDP supporters are seen still hanging around, as there's speculation that a secret Congress and an election may still hold.
Well, staying with the People's Democratic Party, but this time in Edo State, the former governor of Kano State, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, has led the Hausa community in Edo State to a rally in support of the PDP governorship candidate, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, ahead of the September 19th governorship election. While speaking at the event held in Kara Market in Eya Ikoba Oka local government area, Senator Kwankwaso asked the people to vote for Governor Obaseki, whom he describes as a bridge builder.
Last-minute preparations for this makeshift platform inside the Kara Market. It's a PDP rally hosted by the Hausa community in the Ikoba local government area of Edo State.
4+4!
From the trees to windows of nearby buildings, the Hausa community is a god. The crowd goes into wild jubilations and citing the dignitaries, led by former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso. For Senator Kwankwaso, Governor Obaseki is a detribalized leader and should be the preferred candidate for non-Edo indigenes in the state.
Let me thank him and his deputy governor for being a bridge between northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria. He is also a bridge between all the differences that many people want to exploit. PDP!
The PDP flag bearer in the Ondo governorship elections says he is happy with the support from the Hausa community. He reminds them on the importance of their votes, urging them to defend their mandate.
When you vote, when you don't vote, don't leave it. Protect your vote. You understand? They could not leave the polling unit. They could have stayed there. When they count. You have to stay there. You have to stay there. God bless you.
The stage is set and ready for D-Day, with the Obaseki Shuaibu re-election bid in focus.
And from a former governor to the governor of Kano State, Abiola Ganduje, who has said that the All Progressives Congress candidate, Pastor Sage Zeyamu, stands the best chance of winning the upcoming election in Edo State due to his integrity and devotion to public service. Governor Ganduje, who is also chairman of the APC National Campaign Council for the election, expressed his confidence in a chat with newsmen on arrival for campaigns in Benin City. He noted that the Christian-Muslim ticket adopted by the APC has further brightened Pastor Ezeyamu's chances.
From what we have seen in television and what people are telling us, and we are here to see ourselves in order to see what is just happening. But we know that the people have been mobilized for the election, so we are here just to also give them strength so that they continue to ensure that we win the election. Of course, you know, when you say Muslim Christian ticket, it means that the Christians are okay and the Muslims are okay, and politics is all about number. If you say Christian and Muslim, then it means that you are having the highest number here in Edo State. So we believe our candidate who was born here, who grew up here, and he worked here, definitely he knows what worries the people most, and therefore he is able to identify the development projects that are conducive to this place and that are endurable.
Well, in a short moment, you'll be seeing live pictures of the venue of tomorrow's Edo State Governorship Debate 2020. There you have it. The stage is set for what promises to be a firecracking and reverberating issues-based engagement on some of the key issues that are important to the people of the South State. Two of the candidates elected in a poll where viewers determine those whom they want to see debate will be slogging it out tomorrow. Candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, and that of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Pastor Sage Zeyamu, will take to the stage at exactly 7 p.m. live on Channels Television. You can follow the debate on our social media platforms using the hashtag Edo Governorship Debate. Now to more stories. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has once again spoken on the state of the nation. He says that Nigeria is slowly becoming a failed state and a basket case that urgently needs to be pulled from the brink of collapse. Chief Obasanjo's remarks were part of issues discussed at a consultative dialogue attended by various socio-cultural groups in Abuja. According to the former president, today Nigeria is fast drifting to a failed and badly divided state. Economically, our country is becoming a basket case and poverty capital of the world, and socially, we are firming up as an unwholesome and insecure country. He says these manifestations are the products of recent mismanagement of diversity and socio-economic development of our country. Old fault lines that were disappearing have opened up in greater fissures, and with drums of hatred, disintegration, separation, and accompanying choruses being heard loud and clear almost everywhere. On the way forward, the former president believes that if Nigeria was to successfully tackle its challenges, it must first address the problem of disunity, because a house divided cannot achieve much success. And to the citizens, he advocates living together in understanding, mutual respect, love, equity, justice and inclusiveness, which he believes can help the country deal with internal issues of terrorism, organized crimes, banditry, kidnapping, human trafficking, drug, money laundering and corruption. His comments were part of the communique published today in several online platforms. Staying with the call for national unity, the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Mr. Bola Tinubu, he visited Sokoto State to condole with former governor of the state, Aliyu Wamako, over the passing of his daughter, Sadiya Aliyu Wamako, who died from complications arising from childbirth. Speaking to reporters before leaving, Mr. Tinubu asked him to take solace in God and accept the death of his daughter as the will of Allah. He also used the occasion to solicit for the unity of the country.
There's nothing you can achieve without unity. And then we have to unite to develop our country. The blood that runs in your vein is the same blood that runs in my vein. Nobody. Sadiya, who had just passed on, did not dictate that Wamako will be her father. It is the God gift. It's the God Almighty Allah who decides who will be your father, what language you will speak, where you are born, the place, the hour. So if you know that, you have no control over it. So whether I'm a Yoruba man and you are Fulani man, you are Hausa man, you are Ibom man, the essence of our life is that we are Nigerians. And we should always dwell and take that first in everything we do. Do it for the good of our country.
Now to security, where one of the most wanted crime suspects in Rivers State, Honest Digbara, also known as Boboski, has been arrested by operatives of the State Police Command. The notorious gang leader was arrested today in a sting operation of the command with the assistance of local vigilantes at Korokoro community in Kana local government area. Police authorities say he had been declared wanted by the state government with a bounty of 30 million naira placed on him by the governor of the state. Boboski was arrested along with his driver, but they later died of gunshot wounds and machete cuts, reportedly sustained in a shootout with police.
Among the dastardly acts of this notorious criminal Boboski was the kidnap of a barrister in Melogu, who they kidnapped and killed after collecting ransom. The killing of the divisional crime officer, Afam, they collected ransom and equally killed him. Other crimes committed by this gang is the kidnap of Chief Mbu of Ogobolo, who they kidnapped and collected a ransom of 7 million naira. The killing of a soldier and a personnel of civil defense at Geo Pipeline in Ogoni early this year. The killing of 2 policemen attached to Federal Highway at Botu and collected their firearms. Since this man was declared wanted, we went into intelligence-driven policing to ensure that we track and arrest him. We have been on his trail with the partnership of our local vigilante. We've been on his trail. Unfortunately, today, God delivered him into our hands.
Away from Rivers, two children of the acclaimed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, late Chief MKO Abiola, are suing the Lagos State Police Command for 100 million naira over their arrest and detention in connection with a robbery incident at their family house. The two sons, Kazim and Aliyu Abiola, approached the Ikeja Judicial Division of the Lagos State High Court for the enforcement of their fundamental rights. In the suit filed on their behalf by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Mike Ezekeme, they allege that their stepmother, Adebisi Abiola, is responsible for their arrest, having accused them of involvement in the robbery. Mr. Ezekeme asked the court to order the release of Kasim and Aliyu, as their arrest was a violation of their fundamental human rights. The judge, however, directed that the Commissioner of Police be put on notice about the suit and adjourn the matter to October 15, 2020. A 42-man member of the Ogun State Task Force on Human Trafficking to work on the modalities to stem the tide of human trafficking has been inaugurated by the state government in conjunction with the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking of Persons, NAPTIP. Well, at a ceremony held in Abeokuta, the state capital, the state governor, Akwa, represented by his deputy, reiterated the commitment of the state government towards the necessary political will to ensure an end to human trafficking and other forms of inhuman treatment. The event was also attended by NAPTIP DG, Mrs. Julia Donlioka. The task force is charged with the responsibility of developing strategies and state action on counter-trafficking issues, providing for effective reintegration of trafficked victims into society, among others.
It's a hall filled with guests and participants in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, as they gather to discuss the ills of human trafficking, which poses a threat to both human and national security. Donning their face masks while also observing physical distancing, participants are also here to witness the inauguration of a 42-member task force by the state government in conjunction with NAPTIP. And the Director General of the agency, Dame Julie Oka-Donley, reminds the audience on the need to work together with relevant agencies to solve the problem of human trafficking.
The problem of human trafficking and irregular migration have become of great national concern, especially with the large number of Nigerians trapped in sexual and labor exploitation in various African and European countries. Apart from the hundreds that continue to die in the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea.
Mounting the podium, the Deputy State Governor spells out the terms of operation of the inaugurated task force on the fight against trafficking.
To carry out programs for effective reintegration of trafficked victims into the society. To work with the State Ministry of Justice on how to protect, assist, and provide access to justice for victims of trafficking. To create massive awareness programs that will further enhance the visibility of NAPTIP in the state.
After the inauguration, the team visits the Alake of Egba land, and the traditional ruler appealed to chiefs and leaders of thought to show their support in the fight, especially at the grassroots.
Let us respect fellow human beings. Let us respect people who are the same age as our own children. What we cannot ask our children to do, let us not ask other people's children to do them.
According to NAPTIP, 529 indigents of Ogun State, consisting 432 females and 97 males from 6 local government areas, were rescued out of about 16,100 victims rehabilitated, with over 6,700 suspected traffickers arrested as of July the 31st this year. A situation that calls for urgent attention.
And to security in the northwest, where the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has vowed that the Nigerian Army is totally committed to dealing ruthlessly with all criminal elements disturbing the peace and security of the country. This assurance comes as the Army extends its Operation Sahel Sanity to December 2020 to tackle the spate of banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling and other associated crimes in Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna and Niger states. General Buratai describes in particular kidnapping, killings, as well as rape of innocent girls and women as intolerable, while announcing the extension of the Special Army Super Camp in Faskari, Katsina State.
The security issue is a collective responsibility, and we must collectively work together to achieve the desired objective of having a secure society. So my overall assessment is that the troops here of the Nigerian Army, further supported by the troops of the Air Force, the Navy, of course, who are jointly operating under Hadari Daji, the police, the Department of State Services, and even civil defense. They have worked together to achieve this level of security in the northwest and parts of the north central. Be rest assured, we will be ruthless to all those criminals who are bent on disturbing the peace and security of our country. We will not tolerate this attitude or this conduct of molesting, kidnapping, killing, and even raping innocent girls and women. We are determined to work hard in support of the civil administration to have a secure and peaceful Nigeria.
And from security to agriculture, where in Akwa Ibom State, the government says it has made huge investments in the sector within the last 5 years. According to the government, these investments played a big role in mitigating the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the state was able to feed its citizens without external help and create jobs for the youth.
Shortly after being sworn in as governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Udom Emmanuel inaugurated a technical committee to drive a revolution in the agriculture sector by taking advantage of the human and natural resources in the state with the objective of ensuring food sufficiency and wealth creation. 5 years later, the state government says the initiative is yielding positive results. The state boasts of rice fields in Ini local government area, Gari processing mills in all 3 senatorial districts of the state, provision of fertilizer blending plants, improved seedlings storage facilities for excess produce, a digitalized flour mill and greenhouses for vegetables, and almost at completion stage is a coconut farm and refinery.
I do this from time to time. It's just to prompt the people and also to make sure what we invest in, we have adequate returns. I promise people that a good leader must also look for what people will eat. It's not only roads, we do not only bridges, not only high-rise buildings, and all the other infrastructure. According to one of my colleagues, it should fall hand in hand with stomach infrastructure as well. Once you care about what your people will, every good leader must also look at that. I promise people that before we leave office, 80% of what we consume must be produced in Akwa Ibom.
For the state government, these investments have so far mitigated the issue of food shortage in the state, especially with the ongoing COVID-19 challenges.
We should be able to feed ourselves without necessarily waiting for externalized sources of food. Not that we are hoping to produce all we eat, no, but we are hoping to be able to produce in sufficient quantity the critical things we need, so that we don't get, there is a time when you have money and you do not have where to buy the food. Look,
the Akwa Ibom state government says attaining food sufficiency and creating employment opportunities for youths in both urban and rural areas in the state is of great importance, which is why it is not taking the revolution lightly.
And from agriculture to mining, where the federal government has announced plans to commence wide-ranging exploration of iron ore and mineral deposits in Bauchi State. The Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development, Mr. Uchechukwu Oga, says the ministry also has plans to harness kaolin deposits in the state for ceramics, paint making and the production of aluminium phosphate for water treatment. But the Governor, Bala Mohammed, further appeals to the federal government to establish a mineral resource fund to support genuine miners. Our correspondent Hajra Aliyu has more.
Bauchi is one of the states richly blessed with mineral deposits. Iron ore, tin, zircon sand and columbite are currently being extracted in this mining site in Rishi and Panshanu towns of Toro local government area. The Minister of State for Mines and Steel inspects the site for first-hand knowledge of activities in a bid to resolve grey areas and strengthen mining in the country for improved revenue generation. While the miners pursue ways for direct export of minerals, the Minister is considering how they can be better organized.
We are looking at a way where we can expand our reach and maybe we are able to export more of these minerals instead of where people take the minerals to just.
They don't need to be selling this mineral just like that without passing through the process of banking documentation so that we can have articulated volume of export from this country every year.
At the Government House, he solicits stronger collaboration and wants states to leverage on tax collection, in addition to 13% derivation from the federal government. He also speaks about plans for Bauchi State.
The National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project of the Ministry has already concluded an extensive exploration exercise on the Bauchi iron ore, and detailed report is expected after the ongoing analysis and samples to report the iron and steel industry in Nigeria.
Governor Mohammed worries about activities of illegal miners and makes an appeal for the Mining Association to be supported.
Mining is not a joke. You will see people doing surface mining. Most of it is under the ground. And so we are left with no alternative than to always go with these illegal miners who are destroying the surface of our countryside.
Mr. Oga had earlier interfaced with the miners, and as he leaves Bauchi, it becomes clear that the federal government is prioritizing the harnessing of 7 mineral resources in the country, and they include kaolin, limestone, lead zinc, iron ore, columbite, precious stone, and tin. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Still in the northern region, efforts to stop deforestation and reduce firewood-related air pollution have received a boost as the federal government flags off distribution of cooking gas cylinders and tree planting in Adamawa State. During the ceremony in Gure local government area, the Minister of Women Affairs notes that besides helping to preserve the country's forest reserves, the distribution of the cylinders will also mitigate the dangers of air pollution.
Statistics from the World Health Organization states that around 3 billion people cook using polluting open fire or simple stoves fueled by kerosene, biomass and coal. And every year, close to 4 million people die prematurely from illness attributed to household air pollution from inefficient cooking practices. Apart from being a cause of health hazards, the use of firewood as fuel is thought to have its impact on the environment and climate, as trees are felled regularly to produce charcoal for commercial purposes. In Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, women use firewood to cook, making them prone to firewood-related diseases, a situation that brings the Minister of Women Affairs to flag off the distribution of cooking gas cylinders to vulnerable rural women and commence the planting of trees to mitigate deforestation.
Discriminate cutting of trees, release of carbon into the atmosphere by conversion activities as well as indiscriminate disposal of waste are the major facilitators of bad climate conditions.
We are going to flag off another training in the northern zone of Adamawa State. She has done that in the central zone, whereby women were trained on various skill acquisitions.
The Minister of Women Affairs, who understands the danger of using firewood, explains the reason for the intervention.
The health and environmental problems associated with it is to introduce our timid rural people to the use of alternative clean stove, even as the world is transiting to 21st century energy source, and Nigeria cannot be left alone.
The distribution of cooking gas cylinders and tree planting exercise will take place in all the 774 local government areas across the country as part of the government's efforts in fighting climate change, reducing death of vulnerable women because of firewood, and improving the living standard of people in rural areas.
A winner has emerged from the Enugu State SME hackathon series with a reward of $5,000 to develop their business idea. The team, with focus on agro-renewable energy, invented a revolutionizing energy kit to provide cheap and affordable power supply by converting cassava wastewater to electricity. According to the government, the hackathon program is scheduled to be a quarterly event harnessing tech and non-tech based ideas, products and services that can solve societal needs.
It's the first time for the Enugu SME hackathon event, organized by the state government to harness and support tech and non-tech ideas, innovation, products and services capable of solving societal problems. It's also a day to decide who amongst the 10 finalists from the 300 applicants will go home with a grand prize of $5,000 to develop their business.
Now, because there is no electricity.
From the renewable energy team to the teen coding team and others who showed extraordinary talent in their area of expertise, one after the other, they pitched their ideas.
We invented a revolutionizing energy kit that converts cassava wastewater to electricity to serve the underserved energy market, also known as the urban areas in Nigeria.
And Teen Coding Hub, students learn the basic skills of programming like HTML5, CSS3, and Python programming for website design, software and app development, and also help connect them to available jobs upon completion of their courses.
Teen Coding Hub, team.
In no time, the results trickle in, crowning the Creation Energy team, which says it intends to convert cassava waste to electricity.
Well, I actually feel happy. It's, we put in a lot of work, and I'm glad that it paid off, and this is one of what we say and what we, have as our core value, capitalism, trying to solve problems and all that.
The organizer and special advisor to the governor on SME and investment promotion says plans are in place to host the event quarterly.
It's important that we find ways to support them, outside of their loans, grants, incubation supports. We must find ways to take them from where they are to the next level. And this is what we are trying to do with this initiative. This is the first series. By God's grace, we'll be making this a quarterly series. So every quarter, we'll have the Enugu SME hackathon that is going to be focused on a particular sector.
There are also plans to encourage the 9 other finalists.
I'm going to, I just asked my technical advisor to take all the names and contacts. We're going to invite them to a roundtable meeting. We're going to discuss with them, find out what their problems are, find a way of encouraging them, a way of where the government can tap into their talents, and then see how they can empower the youth of Enugu State.
Small and medium enterprise development is key to catalyzing sustainable economic development, a reason why the state government says it's using it to create jobs and grow the sector.
And sadly, one person has been reportedly killed and others injured after a one-story building under construction in Akwa area of Asaba, Delta State, collapsed. According to some eyewitnesses, the owner of the building and 4 others who were working when it suddenly caved in were trapped. Some of them have been rescued and taken to a nearby hospital for treatment.
Coming here, we met some personalities here. So the Wish himself that owns this house, that's the chief, Wish Akali, he was there with some workers. There are 5 in numbers. They were sitting under the building. So then the house just collapsed on top of them. So when the people came, and particularly we were 7 who came, we could not see anybody. Then we started searching for them. Then first of all, they got 3. And that's 3 we were taken to hospital. They took them to hospital.
I was inside cooking, so I was hearing sound, boom. So immediately I ran out. I saw it, that the building is collapsed. So people were gathering, research. At the end of it, they removed almost about 4 people that was under the building, but they are not died. They took them to hospital. There's only one person that we later saw at the end of it. So the crane came and they upload all those belows. So from there, we saw one dead body. So they now took it out.
Now let's shift our attention to the Nigerian filming industry, popularly called Nollywood. This next report takes a look at the use of visual and special effect in filmmaking and why much of it is not being used currently within the Nigerian filming space.
Visual and special effects in Hollywood movies have helped broaden the horizon and created endless possibilities on bringing what has been imagined on the screens, help viewers connect to their fantasies and create some of the biggest titles in the movie world.
Your Highness.
Here in Nigeria, Nollywood has also gained international attention for some of its original storyline and deft acting, but appears to still have a long way to go in the use of special effects. So why is Nollywood shying away from making these kind of movies?
Action!
Because CGI, you're going to have to do heavy CGI, and heavy CGI costs a lot of money.
A few bold filmmakers have pushed the envelope and have put forward movies with soft use of visual effects. One of them is the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award-winning Dimeji Ajibola. His new movie, titled Ratnik, depends heavily on computer-generated imagery, which must interact with humans. It took him about 4 years to make.
The reason why it took that long is because there aren't so much hands in the field of visual effects in Nigeria at the moment. At the time, we almost gave up, but we felt that, giving up means that we will never be able to attain the height that we set for ourselves.
Ajibola's Ratnik took over 150 million naira to make. That is many times above the typical budget for a Nigerian film. How then is he supposed to recoup this investment?
The world is a village now. It's been shrunk by technology, and so our films will be on the same platforms with the committee of films from all over the world. And so, yes, we can make the monies back when we begin to see those things in our films.
The use of CGI is truly expensive, but according to Ratnik director, it creates limitless opportunities.
If we're able to nail this kind of effects, there are so many stories that we can tell. We have rich there's the epic stories that we can tell using visual effects and special effects, something like Game of Thrones, but the African type. We have a lot of stuff that we can do.
While it appears that Nollywood is still far from putting a giant King Kong in the middle of a city, with a slow but steady penetration of CGI, it is now just a matter of time.
Well, from the business of filmmaking to the business of business news, here's Teniola Shibuwale.
Of course, Millicent, welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria says that businesses seeking foreign exchange to import items classified as not valid must go through the process or fill in the electronic Form M on the Nigerian Single Window for Trade portal after removing third parties from the process. The Apex Bank stated in its monetary credit, foreign trade and exchange policy guidelines for fiscal years 2020-2021 that all imports into the country beneficiaries shall be subject to the destination inspection scheme. The report added that the validity for approved Form M for general merchandise is 180 days, with a possible extension by another 180 days by the authorized dealer. Similarly, dealers in importation of petroleum products shall notify the CBN within 48 hours before commencing the transaction and shall accompany the notice with letters of credit and bills for collection. Meanwhile, the World Bank is asking the central bank to step up its policies in ensuring that the pressures on the foreign exchange market is eased in a bid to meet the growing demand. According to a report by Bloomberg, the multilateral lender welcomes the resumption of dollar sales after a 5-month break due to depleted reserves caused by low crude demand and the coronavirus outbreak. The World Bank maintains that the CBN's continued and stronger action will go a long way in achieving a stronger economy. The country has witnessed a reduced dollar supply as the apex bank moves to defend the fallen naira and preserve foreign reserves, but economists believe the resumed sale of forex to the bureau de change operators will help stabilize the markets. The Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs, Mr. Tola Johnson, has been speaking on how the recently launched 75 billion naira MSME Survival Fund scheme will mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on businesses across the country. The scheme, according to him, is estimated to save about 1.3 million jobs across the country, while targeting an average of 35,000 individuals per state.
Payroll support is targeted at about 100,000 beneficiaries, 100,000 businesses. Now, 100,000 businesses, but 500,000 individuals. So, for the payroll support, the scheme targets 100,000 businesses. However, the numbers of individuals that will benefit from this will be 500,000. The next scheme is the 100,000 MSME benefit, MSME grants. What the government has done, and what the government has done is to say that there are a lot of MSMEs, well, across the world. Let me put it that way. There are a lot of MSMEs whose businesses have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. So what we are trying to do as a government is to very quickly inject 50,000 naira very quickly into the very micro businesses, 100,000 of them. 100,000 businesses will benefit 50,000 naira each injected into their businesses.
The federal government says the records of over 2.4 million beneficiaries in all the enterprise and empowerment programs are electronically stored in a central database housed at the command center of the Bank of Industry. In a reaction to a publication, the federal government in a statement today adds that the BOI, which executes the trader money, market money and farmer money microcredit scheme, has equipped its agents nationwide with proprietary mobile application for registration and capture of about 43 data. It explains that data on every captured beneficiary is delivered to the Bank of Industry in real time to enable verification, appraisals and credit assessment. And that's Business News Tonight. I'm Teniola Shoboale. It's back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Teniola. Now let's bring you the best of sports. Here's Kayode Alayade.
Thank you, Millicent. It's the best of sports indeed. Arsenal produced a near-flawless performance to beat newly promoted Fulham 3-0 at Craven Cottage in the English Premier League season opener. Goals from Alexander Lacazette, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and new boy Gabriel got Mikel Arteta's first full campaign as Arsenal manager up and running. Elsewhere, Crystal Palace made a winning start to the new league season with a 1-0 victory over Southampton at Selhurst Park with a goal from Ivorian forward Wilfred Zaha in the 13th minute. Defending champions Liverpool squeezed past newcomers Leeds 4-3 in a keenly contested encounter at Anfield. And in the last game of the day, Newcastle United beat West Ham 2-0. Here in Nigeria, the Rivers State government has confirmed that the Real Madrid Academy will be completed at the end of this month. State Governor Nyesom Wike visited the site of the academy at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt to inspect the extent of work done. The governor noted that the pitches and the administrative offices are ready, but full academic activities cannot commence until the federal government relaxes restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic.
If I tell you how many people have applied to be part of this academy, all over the country, not just Rivers, but again we have said 70% will go to Rivers people. I will not go back on that because the funds used to build this is from Rivers State. Of course, we can't start the school now because of the COVID-19, but we believe by the time the federal government directs by the COVID-19 protocol for schools to reopen, we will be able to start the schools.
We've had over 1,000 applications coming in from all over the world, in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, African countries, and even in Spain.
To tennis now, the women's singles final of the US Open is currently going on with Naomi Osaka and Victoria Azarenka locked in a battle to decide the winner out there in New York. Azarenka won the first set 6-1, while Osaka fought back bravely to take the second set 6-3. The third set is currently ongoing, and it's been a ding-dong affair. We'll bring you updates of that particular match as it unfolds. And that will be all on sports news for this hour. I'll hand you over to Millicent.
Thank you, Kayode. Now, trials of a COVID-19 vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University will resume after being paused on Tuesday due to a reported side effect in a patient in the UK. The UK's Medicines Health Regulatory Authority says it is now safe to continue the trial. Here's more on this and other developments on our COVID-19 Global Update.
After concerns on safety triggered a pause, AstraZeneca and Oxford University have been given the green lights to resume clinical trials of their COVID-19 vaccine. The late-stage trials of the vaccine, one of the most advanced in development, were suspended after a volunteer in the UK fell ill. But the UK regulator, Medicines Health Regulatory Authority, now recommends a continuation of the trials, saying it's safe to do so. Before the pause, the vaccine was being tested on about 18,000 individuals in the United States, Latin America, Asia, Europe and Africa. AstraZeneca says the trials would only resume in the United Kingdom for now, but it's working with health authorities across the world to determine when other trials can resume. In other developments, India has reported a record daily jump in coronavirus cases for a second consecutive day, logging 97,570 new infections. With total cases of more than 4.65 million, India is the world's second worst affected country, trailing only the United States, which has more than 6.4 million cases. Crowds of people rallied in New Zealand against the government's social distancing restrictions imposed on the country's largest city, Auckland. New Zealand, a nation of 5 million people, had appeared to have succeeded in halting community transmission of COVID-19, but a fresh outbreak in Auckland in August prompted the government to place the city back in lockdown. And over in Australia, protesters in Melbourne defied a coronavirus lockdown for the second straight weekend, prompting the arrest of 14 people.
And the main news again. The Ondo State People's Democratic Party governorship candidate Ita Jegede today flagged off his campaign in Akwa, the state capital, ahead of the October 10 election, even as violence marred the party's congress in Niger State. Also today, former President Olusegun Obasanjo described Nigeria as a gradually failing state and a basket case that urgently needs pulling from the brink of collapse. That's news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.